Tuesday. Welcome to a class that, through the response of all your lovely little feedback, so telling me what you would love for your special request for this week. Lots of people said, can you give me something for working from home, all the aches and pains that happens when I have to perhaps sit at a space that's not normally like my office desk or chair, and maybe for a setup that's not as ergonomic as the office. So I wrote some classes that would help neck, backs and shoulders, because they seem to be the ones that everyone questions and puts their hands up and says, oh please, can you give me some relief? Other than hips, because that's in the lineup of requests for this week, and a little bit of core, chair, strap and block. That's going to be a great week. There's lots coming up. So this is just a little 30-minute number for you. Great if you're just about to start work and sit at your desk, so you've got half an hour of sleep before you start, maybe at 8:30, or even great as a post. So okay, I'm going to call this pre-going or studying work at the office or your workstation, and post after, either or. You will need some structure like a bolster or something that you might be able to extend back over, even if it's just like a towel that's rolled up like a big beach towel. So come with me first of all, let's do a knees to chest. This is a really lovely way to get a bit of length into the lower part of the back. You think about when you sit in your chair, and I always think, we call it the end of the chain. Where is all the impact and the load going? When you think about it, it's in that. It's right down there in that lower back, that lumbar and that sacral area, and a lot of compression. So all the vertebrae are compressing down on top of each other. Gravity's pulling us down naturally, and so the lower back, give yourself a little rock whilst you're here, can get quite loaded and quite compressed. So it's just nice to stretch out the lower lumbar back area. Again, if you're about to sit at your desk, then also warming up that area too, so that the muscles aren't contracted or restricted, but there's some warmth into this lower part of the back, so the muscles are a little softer, and therefore they're not trying to hold on right from the word go. So just a nice little knee rock here. Let the knees rest and settle into the center place of the soles of your feet, flat onto the floor here. Just leave the feet as they are at the moment. Take both of the arms upwards towards the ceiling. Think that you've got something really high above you, and you want to try and reach and collect it. So the back of the head just still sits lightly onto your mat, but you're pulling your shoulder blades literally out from underneath your back, and you're creating width and space across the upper back, that upper thoracic. So we call this protraction. And then what we'll do is we'll go the other way, and we'll release the shoulder blades back down and into the floor, almost like you're imagining that you can draw your shoulder blades back in together. Okay, we call that retraction. So again, dropping the chin towards the chest to create some stretch into the back of the neck. Okay, that's super important. Reach out and away and up. Protraction. And then retraction, drawing the shoulder blades back down and in. Okay, we'll just do a couple more of these. These are also, I call them sort of like training skills, in that we're widening the back, but we also need to know that we need to work the back as well. Sometimes we get to, we think, oh, just need stretching because it's so tight. But tightness comes also because of weakness. And, I have my back be weak, I sit at my desk, or surely it's used to it, but it gets tired too. Okay, and if all the muscles aren't working synergistically, they're all not pulling their weight, then some will work harder than others just because they can and they're happy to. So the little muscles, usually the little more intrinsic muscles, they're happy to put their hand up to go on a little vacay and let the big guys take over. Good. And then release the shoulder blades back down for me here. Take hold of the left wrist with your right hand and pull this left arm across your body. Okay. Drop the shoulder though. Okay, that's one of our big misdemeanors, is shoulders near ears. Okay, this happens very easily. The slump happens. We collapse in the spine, the head tips forward, the chin pokes out, the shoulders get closer to the ears, and then we shorten all down through these neck muscles. So we learn even in our stretching to have the correct postural technique. Good. Ease that shoulder back down. Take the right wrist, so left hand, right wrist. Engage those armpit muscles. Okay, so that's why I say draw your shoulder away from your ear and bring the arm across your body. Good. Interlace the fingers, pull them up towards the roof. A little bit more shoulder protraction for us here. And then breathe out across to the right. Breathe in center. Breathe out across to the left. And breathe in center. So you can see now we'll just do two more on each side. That we're actually rolling left to right, and we're also extending the arm out. So it's like your knees to chest, the little rock, but because we've got hold of the hands now, we're actually able to get slightly more shoulder blade away from the mat here. Let's just take one more each way. Press out through the heel of your hand. Come back to the center. Go off to the other side. Press out through the heel of the hand. Come back to center. Back to your right. Let's just hold this one for a little bit longer. Don't hold the breath. And again, that's one of the other things that sometimes, as silly as it sounds, even when you're working at your desk, if you were to be mindful of it, I will guarantee you that you're probably not necessarily breathing rhythmically or with any sort of depth involved in it. Come back to the center. Breathe out. Just like when we do our yoga practice, we're so focused on, where are my feet? Are my knees over my ankles? Check, 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 check. That we forget about the rhythm of the breath. Similarly, when we're concentrating so hard on, say, a document or reading something, how full are those breaths really? Are we really getting good levels of oxygen to the brain, to the muscles? Good. Come back to center. Bring the arms back down by sides. A couple little pelvic curls. These are awesome for the back. Tilt the pelvis back and then peel away just nice and slowly. We won't hold them. We'll just get some stretch and some movement into that spine. Nice and high breathing. Good. Breathe out slow and controlled. Reset each of the vertebrae back down into the floor. One notch at a time. Good. Let's go again. Breathing. And breathe out. Now we're going to add some little arm floats with this one. Next time around. All the way up. And then breathing out all the way back down. This time as you take the lift, you'll also add the arm. So inhale here. Exhale, tilt the pelvis back. Start to float the arms. All the way over. Big reach back behind you. Inhale. Good. Exhale. Ease the spine. Leave the arms there. Oh, nice. Inhale. Bring the arms back down by your sides. Exhale. Tilt the pelvis back. Float the arms with you. Just keep them really soft. Don't worry if they don't go on the floor. Just take them to where they can. Breathe in. Reach the hands far away from you. Don't worry that the shoulders are slightly creeping up near your ears. Now ease your spine. Stretch the spine away and feel how that pulls down through that shoulder blade. Yeah, inhale, arms back by the sides. I know about you, that feels very nice to me. Exhale, curl up, float up. Inhale, stay there. Keep those hands planted onto the floor. And now you're stretching your spine away from your shoulders so that you get this awesome length down the back. Breathe in, hands by the sides. I'm just going to give us one more. That's because I really like it. I hope you do too. Awesome. Stay here. Breathe in. Yep. Okay, plant those hands. And nice and smooth. Ease it down. Keep stretching the spine away from you so you get all this awesome stretch down through the front of your body as well. Okay, all through those ribs. Very nice. Bring the arms softly and slowly back down towards the floor. Take the knees back into the chest. Take a deep twist from here. The knees will go to the left. Again, if those knees don't find their way to the floor, elevate by popping that block underneath, and roll that right shoulder back towards the floor here. Let's do some neck stretching. Turn the head, you look right here. So I'm just giving us a little bit of a warm up, twisting the spine, because where I want to head us to next is a little stronger, and that's that open close book, because that is totally amazing for the slump, the seated slump. Good, breathe in, bringing the head back to the center, and breathe out. Come back through. Alrighty, off we go to the other side. Knees float and drop. Leave that left shoulder on, that left back of shoulder blade, look left now. Bring the head back first, and then bring the knees back to the floor. Slowly float the feet down to the floor, bring the arms back in both sides. So this time we're going to go into that open close book. Take yourself over onto your left hand side, let your knees stack. Now if you need something underneath you, which I could possibly do, it just, for me, it just comforts my neck, sort of a little curve my neck. I won't feel like my head's going to fall off my axle here. Alrighty, here we go. Knees stacked, one on top of the other. Two palms face each other. Okay. So this is really traditionally is a Pilates movement, and it is called open close book. What we tend to do is we try to open up the back of the shoulder blade first. So the hands are stacked onto each other, but then we reach the right hand beyond the left hand. Okay, so can you feel how that stretches the back of that right shoulder blade? Then we take it up. Now you can turn your head and go with it, you don't have to. What you want to make sure though is that these knees don't move off each other. Okay, so they stay stacked. And that right arm pulls out to the right, so don't worry where it goes to. Breathe out, close it. You can follow it with your head, you don't have to. And then we open again on the inhale. Remember, we reach beyond, and then we take the arm up and over. And let the arm hang out there, and then breathe out. Close the arm back down. Breathe in to reach beyond and over. Breathe out to close back down. One more breathe in, open, and this time we're going to hold it. So hold that right arm out there and let it just feel heavy, as though that gravity is pulling it down. If it needs to be supported on something, let it be. Check in, I always have a little look down at those knees and make sure that they haven't had a slide off one another. You could always use that left hand to weight the top leg down. I sometimes will do that. If I feel as though that the hips want to glide off, we really want to know that this twist has come from our ribs as opposed to us just dropping out of the hip. And this will give us this beautiful stretch right across the chest, across the pecs, and across this the initiation of the shoulder. Again, all these muscles get very shortened because of the collapse of the spine. Then as the spine collapses in, trunk hunches forward, chest shortens, neck, chin pokes out. Game over. Alrighty, close it down. Let's repeat it onto the other side. Open and close. Breathe in, remember we stretched beyond, and then we opened up, and we followed if we wanted to. Okay, and that's just to get that neck moving. Breathe out for the closing down. Breathe in to reach beyond, to stretch the back of the shoulder blade. Open up. Breathe out to close down. Inhale, reach beyond. And exhale to close down. Last two, breathe in. Really mindful of full inhalations here. Okay, really start to open up, exhale, close down. Really start to get the lungs opened and the rib cage expanding. Okay, we'll hold it here on this one. Remember, keeping the knees on top of each other, stacked. Breathe into the most open space that you have there, this left lung. Use your breath out to close it back over. Closing down. Good. Take your own way to return back onto your mat. If you've got a little pillow like me, you can remove it. Wriggle the arms one at a time underneath the body and take the start of fish pose. So the chest should be nice and open already. It shouldn't feel too restrictive here. If you want to take fish, then we keep the legs together. We press into the elbows and the forearms. We lift up and we allow the head just to very subtly tip back here. Engage some of the belly whilst you're here. See if you can feel the navel pull in towards the spine fractionally, just to protect the lower back. And then ease back down slowly for me. Walking the feet in, lifting the bottom arm and removing the arms out from underneath and allowing the spine to release back down onto the mat. Take your bolster for me now. Take your way up into sitting in bolster or your blanket, whatever, or towel, whatever you're using. And go into that back extension now. It's fish. And again, if you need something else underneath your head, it's either that towel or your block. You can straighten your legs. For me, it's too strong for my lower back. It'll just put my lower back into too much load. So I need to have my feet onto the floor here. The bolster or the blanket or towel is underneath your armpits. It's literally like it's an extension coming out from your armpits. For me, it's okay to tilt my head back because that's how fish is for me, and it doesn't compress the back of my neck. And it also gives you a stretch here through your neck and your throat muscles. Again, all muscles that can get quite tight, when we sit and we work at that desk. But if it's too strong, that's okay. Remember, a little bit of elevation will make the world of difference. Wide arms that we have here, again, offers the chest that expansiveness, that nice open opportunity to breathe in. Remember the importance of breathing whilst you're sitting at your desk. Let's take 2 more breaths here. As we ease out, let the elbows press onto your prop. Curl on up. Revisit fish pose for me, if you can. If not, and you want want to stay back onto the ball, so that's okay. It should make the pose, the unsupported or the unpropped pose, be a little less resistant and restrictive. See how that feels now. When we come out, once again it's that press through the elbows, the re-lengthen of the spine back onto the floor, walking the feet in, lifting up and out. Once again, that slow release of the spine onto the floor, draw knees to chest. Take a small rock as we come up into sitting here. And as we do, spin round to all fours. Cat-cow. Don't load into the hands. Feel like there's this lightness into the hands, knees down underneath the shoulders. Really round the back and feel as though that you can really sense that tailbone between the legs here and really broaden across the shoulder blades. Good. And then just soften on the inhale. Allow the chin to slightly float up and the tailbone to lift up. And breathe out, chin drops into the chest. Intentionally round the back. Consciously draw the shoulder blades apart. Send the tailbone between the legs. Release slowly as we inhale. Breathe out, curl up into cat. And we're going to hold cat pose. You'll stay here whether you're inhaling or you're exhaling. Imagine yourself breathing into the back of your lungs now and feeling how that widens again across the back. Get more and more width across the shoulder blades. Send the tailbone a little further between the legs so you get that really obvious roundedness. Ease out slowly when you inhale, just to neutral. Walk the hands a little further away from us. Come into high child's drop the chest. It's as though the heart is trying to flow down towards the floor. Keep the arms long and straight. Breathe it in as we draw back up. Take the right hand and thread it through behind the left here. So it's a little like thread the needle, but we're slightly higher. Walk the left hand more and more forward. Roll the left outer edge of the armpit more towards your mat. Okay, it'll want to poke up towards the roof. Okay, because that's the way the head's gone. You will feel a lot more stretch and release down this left side, this left armpit, and the back of this left shoulder blade as you roll the armpit more and more and more towards the floor. Think of pulling that left shoulder away from the left hand. The left hand's glued or sort of plugged into your mat, and then you're just gently pulling away. Release the left hand, the right hand I should say, so that the left hand can thread behind the right. So stay high up in that high child's pose. Roll the right armpit more towards the mat. Draw the left shoulder away as well. So the left shoulder's pulling towards the left edge of your mat. Your right hand sticks to the floor or to your mat, and again we get that extra work into the back of the shoulder blade by drawing the shoulder away from the hand. So both shoulders are pulling away from their hands, their respective hands. Breathe in as we draw the two hands back onto the mat. And take the hands as wide as the shoulders lift up and step back into down dog. Down dog is a really great back body stretch of the back line of the body. So we anchor the heels towards our mat. We consciously send the spine or the tailbone back to the wall behind us. We push away our hands towards the front of the mat so we feel as though we're really sitting in the back of our body here. Come to plank as you breathe in. Your plank can lower whatever way feels comfortable for you to find the mat. And take cobra as you breathe in. This is not a hard cobra, it's a nice, soft, easy baby cobra. And the neck's relaxed. Even whilst you are here, it is a really gentle left-right movement. And let the head balance back into the center. Step the fingers forward. So I call these mangrove mounted. They're like little mangrove legs. And then just breathe in, try to lift without force a little bit more here. Again, it's that softness to the neck. And feel how the shoulder blades can just sort of melt down the back here. Breathe out, soften the chest back down. Bring the hands close to the side of the ribs. And breathe in as you push up onto the knees. And breathe out, float back into wide child's. Hands to prayer, hands over the back of the head. With that walk of the elbows more and more forward. And then feel the back of the armpits. Melt towards the mat here. Release the hands and take them wide for me now, just like the legs are wide. Wider than your mat. Lift the head up and bring your right hand onto your left hand. Send your left hand around behind your back now. Walk the right hand a little more on that diagonal line and stick it to the floor. Whilst just sends that right sit bone a little further back away from the hips. It's like you're trying to pull your hips away from your ribs. Roll that right armpit again down to the floor. Notice that deeper, 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 deeper side stretch now. Replace the hands wide with the left onto the right and the right around behind our back. Doing the same here. Get that extra length by walking the left hand more on that diagonal line. Again, anchor that left sit bone back towards the left heel, left armpit. Float it to the mat. So this now gets you out of the side of the ribs. Okay, again, the area where there's lots of compression, there's lots of compacting. Where all those little ribs love to just literally compress down onto each other. Both hands come back into the center, and you walk them in your own time, nice and slowly, back up so that you can come all the way up. Just take your time. Bring the knees back together. How was that? I feel so much better. I hope that gives some of those little people who have asked me for some help and some relief into necks, backs, shoulders, so that they feel as though that they're a little more functional, either pre-starting at their desk or even afterwards. I totally understand what it's like. I can only sit for a couple of hours before I have to get up with all my writing that I do, and I change my spot a lot during the day. So they're not always beautiful, perfect, ergonomic spots, but it means I'm just constantly getting up and I'm changing. So sometimes I'll go and sit out into the balcony, onto the lounge. Sometimes I'll come and sit into my egg chair. Other times I'll sit at the kitchen bench. But it's always getting my body to readapt to different formats. And so that I also get up and change where I am. Also helps to change my mind's perspective of things as well. I need to see life from a whole different perspective about 4 times a day, which is lovely. Alrighty, you have an awesome day at work if you're with me this morning. Go and knock out a few hours of work, get a little walk in, go enjoy some beautiful weather, have an awesome day. I'll get to see you tomorrow. Alrighty, have a good one.